So, discussing with our today's lesson, we shall be discussing about the nature of matter. Now, children, in our previous classes, all of us have studied that anything that occupies space and have mass is termed as matter. So, now the question arises, what are the states of matter? Till your lower classes, you studied only three states of matter, but today, in 11th standard, all of you are aware that we do not have only three states of matter. In fact, we have more than them. And exactly speaking to, for five states of matter have been recognized so far by the scientist community for the discussion in academics. But yes, it doesn't mean only those five are there. A few of the chemists and physicists are of the opinion that apart from these five, that is solid, liquid, gas, plasma state, and condensates, which is known as Bose-Einstein condensates, we have some more states of matter, but yes, they are still under discussion. So, but yes, the measurable quantities out of all these states of matter, we have these three states of matter which can be measured easily at any level of human beings, let it be in some laboratory or at somebody's place. So solids are generally measured in terms of their weight and liquids are generally measured in terms of their volumes. Whereas in gases, fixing the temperature and pressure, we measure gases in terms of weight. And also we know that all these three states are interconvertible into each other depending upon the temperature and pressure conditions. Now we shall be studying the classification of matter on the basis of its purity. Fine. The previous classification, that is solid, liquid, gas, was based on the physical state of matter. Now you see children, we can classify the matter into two major categories, that is as pure and impure. Right. Pure substances are your elements and compounds. Simply to say, those substances are called as pure, which cannot exist in more than one form of more than one form. Like to say, the water is a pure molecule if it has only the molecules of water only, right? And then gold may be described as pure gold if it has only the atoms of gold only. So the purity depends upon the one type of particles, let it be a molecule or let it be an element. Fine. So those are the pure substances. Now the mixtures or the impure ones may be further classified into two major categories: the homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. Now the homogeneous mixtures are those mixtures, children, which are thoroughly mixed into each other and you cannot uh, describe their composition only by looking at them. Say for example, the drinking water is a homogeneous mixture of so many compounds and elements mixed thoroughly into it that only by looking at a glass of water you can never say that it is pure water or it is having some dissolved substances in it. So that's a brilliant example of homogeneous mixtures. Then heterogeneous mixtures are those mixtures, children, who by only looking at can be described as impure ones, and you can say they can be separated into their components by simple methods of separation like filtration, condensation, evaporation, crystallization. Fine. And homogeneous mixtures need specific methods for their separation. So after all these things, we come to the part of elements and compounds. According to the definition of any chemist, you can say ranging from the Carnot, then coming to Dalton's until today. Elements are those substances which have only one type of atoms in them, whereas compounds are those substances which have more than one type of elements in them, but always have a fixed ratio by mass. Fine. And the smallest independent entity of an element is an atom, whereas for that of compound, the smallest independent entity is a molecule. Coming next, children, We know that our periodic table is having more than one type of elements in it, and all the elements differ in the terms of their atomic masses and atomic numbers. Fine. Atomic sizes also they have different, so we can say if the atoms are different, the elements will be different, and different combination of these atoms will give you different types of compounds. वेरी सरप्राइजिंगली यहीं पर मैं आपको एक नई चीज बता देती हूँ. ओनली हैविंग द सेम टाइप ऑफ एटम्स but arranged in different manners will give you different allotropes, and therefore we come across one new definition of an element, that is the allotrope. Allotropes are nothing but the different physical forms of an element. Say for example the carbon. Carbon you can obtain in form of coal also, the pure coal. You can also have it in form of graphite. You can also have it in form of diamond. In all these three cases, and one more, I should not forget here to mention the fullerene. Fullerene is also taken as one of the allotropic form of the carbon. So all these are carbon by chemical means, but they have different arrangement of atoms in them, and that is why they appear different to us when they come in front of us. Or we can say that having different arrangement of atoms for the same element, we may have more than one type of physical form of element which are known as allotropes. Fine. And yes, rest of the properties we shall discuss in our next class. So till today we have discussed about the classification of matter on the basis of its physical state, that is in the three states, measurable three states, solid, liquid and gas, and two more we have studied, that is the plasma and the Bose-Einstein condensate. Then on the basis of the composition we can classify the matter into two major categories, pure and impure. Pure can be further classified into the category of elements and compounds, whereas impure can be classified as homogeneous and heterogeneous. Coming up to the level of elements and compounds, according to definition, elements should have the same types of atoms in them, and the smallest independent entity for any element should be an atom, whereas the compounds have two or more than two elements in a fixed ratio by mass, and the smallest independent entity for compound must be a molecule. Thank you, children.